In these timeless words, Jesus reminds us of a profound truth, that each of us carries a light within, a divine spark meant to illuminate not just our own lives, but to shine out as a beacon for others. Today, we'll explore what it means to awaken this inner light, to move beyond the shadows of doubt, and to embrace the strength, faith, and wisdom that God has placed within each of us. In a world filled with noise and chaos, there exists a deeper truth, an inner light, an unfailing source of peace, strength, and clarity. This light is not something we must find outside of ourselves, but rather something waiting patiently within us, like a hidden ember. The teachings of Jesus and the wisdom found in the Bible reveal that this light isn't just a metaphor, it's a guiding force. Today, we'll embark on a journey through stories and reflections that illuminate how we can awaken this inner light, recognize our true potential, and find strength through faith and divine guidance. Imagine a man named Elias, feeling burdened by life's many demands. Day after day, he moves through routines, completing tasks and fulfilling obligations, but deep within, he senses a void. There is a small, persistent thought that perhaps he was meant for more, meant to experience life differently. Yet, like many of us, he dismisses it, thinking, "Who am I to dream of something greater?" But one day, as he walks through a quiet forest, he sees sunlight streaming through the trees, illuminating a hidden path. This sight stirs something within him, a memory of hope, and he recalls a verse from John 8:12. "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life." This light seems to call out to Elias, inviting him to step beyond his self-imposed limitations and see the path more clearly. At that moment, Elias feels a stirring of faith, realizing that perhaps this inner light has always been with him, just waiting to be discovered. As Elias ponders this inner light, he recalls moments when he held himself back, ruled by doubt and insecurities. He remembers the times he felt unworthy, overwhelmed by mistakes or perceived failures. A powerful story from the Bible comes to mind, the story of Moses, a man chosen by God to lead his people, but who initially resisted, saying, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh?" Exodus 3:11. Moses, a humble shepherd with a troubled past, doubted his worthiness and his ability. Like Moses, Elias begins to see that he, too, has been looking at himself through the lens of past limitations, rather than the limitless potential that faith offers. Moses' story reminds him that God's call comes not because we are perfect, but because he sees what we may not yet recognize in ourselves. As Elias reflects on this, he understands that these limitations, whether they come from fear, past mistakes, or societal expectations, are like shadows hiding his light. He feels encouraged to seek God's guidance, realizing that faith in something greater than himself can help him break free from these constraints. One evening, Elias decides to pray, something he hasn't done in years. In his prayer, he asks not for specific outcomes, but for guidance. He asks to see himself as God sees him and to feel the strength of the light within him. This moment of humility and surrender marks the beginning of a transformation, as he opens his heart to faith and divine wisdom. Reflecting on the verse, Psalm 27:1, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear?" Elias senses a profound reassurance. With this verse echoing in his mind, he begins to feel a subtle shift, a new sense of inner peace that gives him courage to trust in this light. Elias learns that trusting in God doesn't mean he'll avoid all struggles or challenges. Instead, it means he now walks with a steady companion, the divine light within, illuminating his path, even in darkness. As days pass, Elias starts viewing his life differently. He approaches familiar situations, work, relationships, and even his inner struggles with a renewed spirit. Each time he feels doubt creep in, he reminds himself of Jesus' words, "You are the light of the world." Matthew 5:14, and lets this truth wash over him. He recalls the parable of the mustard seed in Matthew 17:20, where Jesus teaches that even the smallest amount of faith can move mountains. Elias reflects on how often he felt inadequate because his faith felt so small. But now, he understands that even a glimmer of faith holds immense power. His journey of self-discovery becomes a series of small acts of courage, each one igniting the light within a little brighter. Through this process, Elias discovers strengths he didn't know he had: the ability to forgive, to love unconditionally, and to remain steady in the face of adversity. Each revelation brings him closer to the truth. His inner light was never meant to be hidden or diminished. It was given to him to grow, flourish, and inspire others. One day, Elias confronts a situation that would have once paralyzed him with fear. A close friend betrays his trust, and the pain is intense. But instead of reacting with anger or self-pity, he finds himself reflecting on Jesus' teachings of forgiveness and grace. He recalls Jesus' words on the cross: "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." Luke 23:34. Elias feels a deep compassion arise within him, and he forgives his friend, releasing the weight of resentment that once dimmed his light. He realizes that forgiveness, compassion, and love are paths to freedom, keys to breaking down the walls of limitation around his heart. Each act of kindness, each choice to love instead of hate, releases a new layer of light within him. As Elias's light grows, he notices that those around him begin to feel its warmth. He becomes a source of encouragement and hope for others, gently guiding them toward their own inner light. His story reminds others that they, too, have an untapped well of strength and wisdom within. He recalls the parable of the lamp on a stand from Luke 11:33. No one lights a lamp and hides it in a clay jar or puts it under a bed. Instead, they put it on a stand so that those who come in can see the light. Elias now lives in a way that reflects this teaching, embracing his role not only as one who has found his inner light, but as one who shares it with others. Through kindness, compassion, and a steady faith, Elias embodies the teachings of Jesus, showing others that they, too, have a light worth sharing. His journey of awakening becomes a testament to the power of faith, courage, and divine guidance. In closing, we are reminded that every one of us has an inner light, a divine gift placed within us. It may be hidden or forgotten, but it's always there, waiting to be rediscovered. Like Elias, we may face doubts, fears, and limitations, but through faith, we can transcend them, awakening our full potential. The light within us is a reflection of the eternal light of God's love and wisdom. It is a reminder that, no matter how dark our journey may seem, we are never alone. With this inner light, we can overcome, grow, and share our gifts with the world. May we each find the courage to let this light shine brightly, illuminating not only our own path, but the paths of all who walk beside us.